What's up, everybody? This is SojuTalk, your weekly shot of K-pop. This is episode 221. We are recording on January 23rd, 2023. I'm your temporary host of the day, Warren. Joining me today is Warren. Hi, everybody. And Anita.
Hello.
As a quick reminder, check out SojuTalk on your favorite podcast platform. Sub to us on YouTube and join the SojuTalk Discord. Be a part of the nation. Okay. Oh man. All right. Here. Okay. Real quick. Doug is out for the day. Something.
Absent.
He's absent. Something urgent came up. He has to be out. He'll be back next week.
He's on he said, quote, magical journey is what he wanted us to say.
Christ. Yeah, it's nothing serious, but it's kind of urgent, so he had to be there. So that means it's just me and you, Anita. Just you and me again.
Yeah, and the intro, I thought you were forgetting me because you said your name twice.
Yeah, no, I said temporary host of the day, Warren, and then joining me is Warren, hello, and then Anita.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because typically Doug does his, and you get, okay, never mind.
Yes, yeah.
I don't want to ramble too much because last time you and I did the thing.
Yeah.
Didn't we ramble about NMIX for like an hour and a half or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, in order to prevent that from happening, I'm implementing a special rule today.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I'm implementing a special rule where every song gets a maximum of 15 minutes of discussion time. That's plenty long.
Wow.
That's plenty long.
Okay.
I'm going to time ourselves. I have my phone pulled up here.
Okay.
I'm going to pull up a clock. Timer is what we need. Okay, 15 minutes. And we'll do that whenever we need to talk. Cool. Okay, we have no other announcements or sponsors. Cool. How are you doing, Anita? You're doing good?
Doing all right. Doing all right. It's a Monday, but it's
Monday.
okay.
Yeah, okay. God, Mondays. Yeah. Anyways, all right, we have 3 big, large, juicy new releases of today.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start off with Aurora by Cignature. Okay, don't speak real quick. I'm going to start the timer. Okay, there we go. All right. We have Signature's Aurora. They are from C9 Entertainment. Their last 3 songs have been Boyfriend, Arisong, and Asa. I think Nununanna is in there somewhere as well. I forget where it actually falls in, but this is who they are. Wow. It's been a hot second.
It has.
Yeah.
Almost a year, I want to say.
Actually,
Maybe
I looked it up.
10 months.
Boyfriend was November of 2021, so.
Wow.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Typically a gap that long is a bit of a, I don't know, like an orange
Concerning.
flag. Yeah. Not great, but I mean, at least they're back. At least they secured the funds to make another comeback. How'd you feel? How'd you feel about the track, Anita?
I feel like I don't know if it was just me, but just first impressions, right? Visually, music video wise.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the lighting or like something about the set, the sets that they use, but I was feeling like, oh, this is very similar in visually to some extent as their previous release, Boyfriend, right? And that one I remember very clearly because it was very different than their typical sound. It was way more slow and chill pop, I want to say. Like it was still in that genre, but very different compared to like their previous very high energy, very out there stuff. I feel like this was more in return to that. Like more high energy, more not bubblegum, but like it was not the Boyfriend sound.
Boyfriend was a lot more muted and toned down, where Nununanna was very much like, it was, the lyrics were like Nununa Shini Nanda. It's like, oh, I'm excited, you know.
Yes, excited.
I remember the lyrics of this track is kind of in that direction as well, about this party, let's have fun. And that is definitely there in the mood as well. This is a very EDM heavy, I want to say pop house, trap house. Almost sounds like progressive housey, glitch hop. A name that might be familiar with a lot of folks is The Fat Rat.
I'm not familiar with that.
No? Okay. There's this one house track that he did that like everyone used to use in their YouTube videos for a while. the melody doesn't come to my head. But if you look up The Union by the Fat Rat, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the pam pam pa da da dum pa. Oh, wait, actually no, that's not it. Never mind. That's Blackpink. Never mind. Anyways, look up Flat Rat. You'll see what I mean. It is a very EDM heavy house track that maybe sounds a little dated for K-pop standards to me. I'm hearing a little bit of like tropical housey sound samples in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that too, which confused me because I was like, I mean, here in the northern hemisphere, it's a little, it's winter, right? So I feel like, oh, this is so odd. This is very like kind of warmer tone in the sound, but
right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, especially with the white letterboxes on the top and bottom of the music video, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That too.
That was like a very common trope with like tropical house, especially back in like
summer releases too. Yeah.
2018ish. I don't know. I think the melodies have a more of a traditional girl group sound to it, almost like a Lovelyz-esque melody. I don't know. But overall, I mean, I feel like it works. The transitions are actually very well paced and very organic for what they try to be, which is I felt like is a very stark change from Nunnunanna, which was that whole track was relying a lot on like sudden abrupt changes and transitions.
Shock factor.
Right, which gave it almost a bit of a hyper pop-esque thing.
Yeah.
This, on the other hand, feels a lot more progressive and a lot more, well-paced. And I noticed that in the pre-chorus, where it starts doing the normal pre-chorus thing, right? Everyone just calms down, no drums. And then at a certain point, it transfers into doing like a full-on house beat all of a sudden. And then that translates into the chorus as this like natural progression of sound. And I thought that was really cool because K-pop doesn't... You're not supposed to do that. That's the grammar of K-pop. This is, house music and K-pop. You don't really do that. But overall, the song sounds alright. It's not... I'm not gonna say I would remember this in half a year, I think, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say when you started mentioning the similarities with Lovelyz, I heard G-Friend. Maybe it was the melody or something in the pre-chorus. I don't know what it was about it, but it felt like that specific bit was more dynamic in like the emotions. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the issue that I had with this track, I agree in the sense that it's pretty straightforward, good energy, and I think structurally it makes sense. But there was a certain feeling of like trying to create like high tension, like those energetic moments that didn't quite feel natural to me. And I think I felt it more in the vocals where it was like very high range, obviously trying to have that tone, like party, excited, you know, but I felt like it was a little unnatural at times. And I think that took it away from me.
Okay. No, I can definitely see that. Cignature in particular, I don't think they're bad at singing by any means, but I do feel like this wasn't a track where I was particularly impressed, even particularly because that's what I noticed about Boyfriend, right?
Yeah, because it was so different.
Right. So while I don't just like this kind of direction, that's where I'm thinking maybe Boyfriend was a little more appropriate for them. But then again, it didn't sell that well as far as I understand. So maybe, business strategy wise, they had to make a, decision. But then again, the trend is shifting towards that kind of sound. So,
I was going to say, like, I listened to it again because I was like, wait, I remember the previous release being very different than this. And then I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I feel like things are turning into that a little bit more now.
Yeah.
Maybe they were ahead like a year ago.
Oh,
but
trend leaders.
Yeah. Or maybe it didn't pick up quite as much before, like during the time that they were doing it. But it's interesting that, I don't know, I feel like they could still go back to it to some extent. Maybe not full on the same sound that Boyfriend had. But I feel like maybe like between this and that, between this release and Boyfriend, something in the middle.
Something in the middle would be nice. I will admit I do enjoy that there's a solid sound foundation in EDM with their sounds. All of Na, Boyfriend, Aurora. I feel like we're more heavily leaning in towards the EDM sounds to create different kinds of dynamics. You know, if you see Aurora and Boyfriend, very polar opposites, but in terms of sound design, very similar, right? EDM-y, ba-ba-ba-bang synths. And I feel like that's really cool. So I kind of agree with you. I hope maybe they can find a good middle, a good balance in between. Particularly because people seem to be more accepting of chill sounds in K-pop these days. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe Second Shot wouldn't hurt. Particularly because they added a couple new members and they only gave them 2 comebacks in the past like 2-3 years so far, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Shout outs to the Wolverine, Chloe.
Yes.
We are your one of the biggest fans. The whole University of Michigan community supports you. I will admit, I recognized her the moment I saw her, so I was like, oh yes, this is her.
Nice.
I hope she makes a lot of money. Why? I want her to make a lot of money.
No, I agree. Yeah. I feel like I felt like the group at some point was trying to do a rebrand, but like soft, you know, like not all out. But I'm glad that the new members, I feel like at least seem to fit really well. So it doesn't feel like a completely different shift.
Yeah, no, I imagine at the very least, maybe, okay, the thing is, they've only had 2 comebacks, but time-wise, they've spent a lot of time together, so maybe they've had time to, like, communicate amongst themselves and train together, and,
Hopefully.
you know, yeah, and, like, now it feels like one big team. I'm sure they're a big team, and I didn't mean to say big, more like, you know, a team together. Team.
Yes.
Team. What? I'm trying to think of an adjective for team, and I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
Team-like.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh man. Apparently, I read this on Wiki, but apparently, Chloe was teaching people C++ on her V Lives.
That's real. That's real.
Like, dude, that's too real.
Skills.
Oh man. At least if the idol thing doesn't work out, she can go back to doing that.
I mean, do what you can and what you like, you know?
Of course.
And
No,
I'm hopeful that the group as a whole, I'm still interested, you know? Like, even if this is not my favorite release, I feel like it's been interesting to hear the sounds, like how they've tweaked it here and there. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
I am as well. Stuff that comes out of C9 has been pretty interesting to me, even from the CIX days.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope they do more comebacks. I'll be honest. I mean, sure. Same here as well. I don't think this is my favorite comeback from them by any means, but I'm still interested. At the same time, this 14-month gap, you know, obviously I don't know what's happening behind the scenes over here, but from the audience, I don't know. It's not a great look so far. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. Everything else, this is great. Song's fine. Cool. Okay. We have 3 remaining minutes. Y'all wanna move on?
Us.
Look at us.
We're good.
Okay. Cancel. Okay. All right. We're gonna move on to the second song. I'm gonna hit start. There we go. All right. Second song is Cotton Candy by GOT7's Jinyoung. He is from BH Entertainment. His last song has been Dive, and I believe that's his only song so far as a soloist after, GOT7, all of them left JYP. Very, very relaxing track. R&B-ish.
Yes. I wasn't quite sure what the genre would be because the chorus or like the instrumental throughout the song, but particularly the chorus, it felt very like pop, but like soft pop, like very easy listening type of song. Like it's still quite upbeat. I wouldn't call this like chill, but I don't know, it felt very, very smooth, very easy listening, which is nice.
It is very nice. It's a very smooth track. Not smooth as in smooth R&B, but just smooth finish.
It flows
Polish.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, it flows really well. That's actually a very good way to put it. And I mean that happens because I think of two things. One, the instrumental itself is pretty. It's not offensive by any means. It's pretty smooth. There's a couple pianos near the top range, and then the bass line is so smooth, so good. And that's one part of it. And then Jinyoung's voice, this consistently very relaxed voice tone that I'm hearing throughout this track is just it's great. It's great. If I go back to some of his work with GOT7, I'm sure it's because he's doing pop music, but there are parts where he has to bring out a lot of dynamics and emotions, and that's cool too. But on the other hand, it's a 3-minute song. It's also really cool to just pick a tone and just dig deeper into it.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm getting here with Con Candy, and I think that was really, really cool. Because I'll be honest, I'm not very familiar with all the members of GOT7. I wasn't very particularly sure what his voice tone is like.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I
know many GOT7 songs to begin with off the top of my head. I'll be honest. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I guess for me, as somebody who was pretty familiar with their discography and them individually, vocal wise, I was always a little bit more biased towards his tone because it's very like mid range, like very, very like easy on the ears. I want to say like it's not super super high or super super low. It's like very approachable, and I thought like it was really nice that he kind of highlighted that in this song. Whereas in the group projects, it's been like a lot of dynamics, high notes, falsettos, like because it fits the genre.
Right.
But I feel like for this one, it was very appropriate, and I think it complemented his vocal tone very well.
Yeah. So he is the main writer on the song, in terms of songwriting and composing, and I feel like he really understood his strengths as a vocalist really, really well. Right. Because obviously if you just look at the output results of it, it feels like he
comfortable.
Yeah, no, very comfortable. It feels like he knew what he wanted to do and just did it. Yeah. So I don't know how much creative control he has in his work. So far, not too bad, not too shabby. I'll be honest. There was one part that stood out to me a little bit. In less of a, not so much of a positive way. There were these downward melodies right before the second chorus that were like, I forget how it exactly went, but it was like, bah, bah, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't remember the tone of it right, the actual pitch of it right now, but like it was kind of whispery and just up, down, up, down, up, down, and I was like, that felt a little off-putting all of a sudden. But everything else, I think it was really, really cool. There was a subtle touch on the chorus where, if you listen closely, there's this whistle synth in the background. That was very, very nice. Good touch.
Yeah, I was gonna say that for me, it was. I mean, overall, I thought it was very nicely compiled. Like, I think like a lot of the elements worked really well. The one thing that I think I was still hoping for a little bit more development was in the music video aspect, I guess. Because I mean, and I think we were talking about this before recording about the lyrics and the title of the song. But based on the title of the song, right, Cotton Candy, I was expecting like the visuals to be very not bright, but like more on the lighter side and pastel colors, like what you would associate with Cotton Candy. And I don't know, I was a little thrown off by the coloring in the music video. Like, it felt unusually dark, like dim. And even outside, in the outside shots, where it felt like, oh, it seems a little too dark. I don't know. I thought it was a little odd based on like the general vibe that the song had and like the title. So I don't know. I thought there was a disconnect there.
I was thinking maybe they rented the set for only a day or two, and it happened to be
Oh,
a
no.
horrible weather.
Oh no.
No, cause like in certain scenes, it looks like he's walking through what looks like an English village, like a
Yeah, those shots.
yeah.
Mm.
It looks like suburban America, so it's gotta be an English village. And it's a nice set. Don't get me wrong, but like I see what you mean. It's a little dim, and a little
Yeah. Also,
greenish
there was
blue.
like a blue tone to it,
Yeah.
which I don't know. I didn't associate that with the title, but
Anyways,
there was also a motif, not super obvious or like super in your face, but of clouds, right? There's a cloud like installation in the middle of this like stairway that he's walking alongside, and then also outside you see the clouds. I thought like great cotton candy that kind of looks like clouds. I thought that was a good thing to include, but again I feel like it was very, I don't know, like it could have been utilized a little bit better and with the colors to imply more of what was, I thought, the title.
I kind of agree with you. This whole cotton candy thing. I mean, look. Sometimes we choose words because they sound cool. Sure. I don't think cotton candy is one of those words. So my guess was cotton candy. He chose that for a reason. It's got to mean something. And I'm going through the lyrics again and again and again. I don't really see anything about why this had to be cotton candy, because he's like, oh, like it's floaty and it's sweet like cotton candy. I'm like, you could have said sweet like chocolate. You could have sweet like mochi, sweet like.
No, but okay, I get the cotton candy reference if it's meant to be like very light, because that's what the song sounds to me, very light, kind of not quite airy, but like nothing very, I don't know, like it's super heavy here,
he
you
could
know?
have said, he could have called the song Helium Balloon, like that's also very light. You know what I mean?
Well, that doesn't sound as nice. I was
Okay, fair. Oh, Helium Balloon, yeah. All I'm saying is that I wish that message or the reason or this motif of cotton candy,
The
I wish was a
imagery,
little
yeah.
further more developed. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. You might be right. He might have said cotton candy because it's light, it's a little pastel-y, it's sweet.
Sweet. Yeah.
But I don't know. Is there literally nothing else that shares those similarities? Light,
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
light and sweet.
But I mean, the thing is, it felt very like you kind of had to like make the connections in order to know. Oh, okay, yeah, that's the title, that's the reference. Maybe like I'm not even sure. I'm just assuming.
We're coming up with our own interpretation here.
Yeah.
Particularly because he wrote the lyrics. Yeah. This
Yeah.
isn't some guy who pumps out 12 different sheets of lyrics every day.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, like
Maybe more intention.
yeah, because at this point, Jinyoung's not just a dude who sings. He's trying to be an artist. He's trying to be a singer-songwriter. So if that's the route he's going, obviously I'm gonna look deeper into that. Do I think? Am I saying the lyrics are? Am I saying that the lyrics are awful and it's difficult to listen to? No. These are great. These are fine. I'm just creating a wish list for Christmas.
There you go.
Yeah, I know it's only January, but never too early to celebrate Christmas. That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying my best to like not get angry comments. All right. Anything else about GOT7 before we move on? Anita and Jinyoung? Jinyoung, sorry.
I wanted to point out that the choreo was really nice touch. I guess I saw him within the group as like focusing more on the vocals, so I was expecting it to be very focused, very heavily on the vocals. I didn't expect choreo, but it was nice that he included it because he's a good dancer, and I don't know. I think it added to the lightness of the song in a way, so it was a nice touch.
I do recall I wasn't really noticing any choreo until the very last moment where it's it looks like it looks like a school auditorium, honestly.
Like a gym
Yeah.
type. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
probably what that is. That shot was nice, by the way. The color tone was great, and like there's like sparkles
Yeah.
everywhere, and he's just
That one was good.
dancing.
Mm.
Yeah, it really makes me feel like they filmed on the wrong weather. That's probably, I'm guessing that's what it is, because the tone looks great here. The colors and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then suddenly, the moment he steps outside, it's like it looks like one of those gloomy
It's
4
odd.
p.m. days in
Yeah.
Michigan.
Oh no. Yeah.
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 Yeah. If anyone else lives in the Midwest, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's one of those gloomy days.
Yeah.
Anyways, cool music video, cool orange suit. We shall move on. 3 minutes, 18 seconds.
We're consistent today.
Look at us!
Good.
Look at us!
We've learned.
We have learned. We are improving. We are constantly getting better.
Adapting. Yes.
All right, I took a sip of water. That was very refreshing. All right, you ready for the last thing, Anita? Last track of the day?
Yes.
That is
Exciting one.
Twice with their first. Actually, no, this is their English pre-release for the English comeback, which is to be released soon, titled Moonlight, Sunrise. They are from JYP Entertainment. Last 3 songs have been Talk That Talk, Scientist, and I'll Call Free. The Fields is in there somewhere too, I think.
Yes.
Anyways, man, Moonlight, Sunrise, lovely little track from Twice folks. How you liking it, Anita? You like it?
I do. I feel like the thing though is that I like it because it sounds familiar. So this this sound and general vibe, I think, has been quite popular for a while. I think before recording we were talking about references to Ariana Grande. Personally, most recently, the song that I thought of was "Sweetest Pie," which was Dua Lipa and Megan Thee Stallion. Very popular song on TikTok, so maybe that's why it was very prevalent when listening to this song. But I like it. I like this type of sound for them. This beat, I think it's very fun, and I think it's the drum kit behind it. It's very popular, and it just has like a little bit of a, what is it? It's like a dance. It's a dance track. I think it just gets a good energy.
Yeah. I was the one who pulled out Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
It felt like everyone else in the comments of every comment section ever was also saying Ariana Grande. I made a TikTok with this song.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't dancing or anything. I just don't look it up. Sorry. What I did was I took the acapella track of this track, and did like a quick remix to give it like I essentially did a Ditto-esque arrangement with like a choir-esque synth, and then the Jersey House pump, and those like skittering percussions. You'll look it up on TikTok. It'll be in there somewhere. But anyways, even there, people were like, "Oh, these sound like Ariana Grande." And I'm like, we got rid of every element of the original tracks except for the actual voices, and people are saying Ariana Grande still. And I was like, okay, that's gotta mean something. And I think a part of that is, well, actually, you know what? I think it's a lot of it, right? I think the vocal styles of Twice in this track in particular is kind of, I don't want to say modeled after, but probably influenced by it. I'm hearing a little bit of not only her, but like Tinashe as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all of these are pop trap, R&B trap, PBR&B artists. I was particularly thinking about Thank You Next and Positions era, recent Ariana Grande tracks like 34 plus 35 and Thank You Next off of Thank You Next. Particularly 34 plus 35 because of the, I don't know, this feels very sexual in terms of lyrics. And, 35 plus 35 also very, if you don't know what I'm talking about, do your math.
More mature lyrics, yeah.
Which makes sense, right? They're going for an American audience. They know what works in the American audience, sound-wise, lyric-wise. Thank God Twice is actually old enough to do this. Good God.
Okay, but even with the sound, right? Like, because the sound is very familiar, and the topics, right? What
Yeah.
they're singing about, the lyrics, is also something like, okay, yeah, this has been in the Western music scene for a bit.
Yeah.
It still retained quite a bit of the Twice flavor to
Oh
me,
yeah.
which I thought was nice. And I feel like maybe it's okay that it sounds familiar in that sense, because it's like, well, this is kind of like their version of that sound.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that. I think that's actually really cool, because I like how they're trying things out in their Western releases.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you there. It's particularly because a lot of people are making connections between this and Feel Special, and I definitely hear that too. This is retaining that side of their sound, and it's not like they're suddenly sounding like different people. They still sound like Twice.
Right.
If anything, I think they were very clever about it, right? Because the typical Twice formula is that Jiho or Nayeon would lead with the first chorus.
Right.
Sana, some combination of Sana, Zui, Mina. These folks would do the second chorus, and then we return to the main vocals for the final chorus. Throw in Junghyun somewhere. That was the traditional Twice formula, which we broke out of a while back. But what I thought was really clever about this track is the first two sets of the chorus is all I forget which order, but Sana was in there, Momo was in there, Mina was in there,
Yeah.
Zui was in there. And they're all doing a very relaxing job at the chorus, which makes sense. Track is very laid back. It's not hype by any means. And then this naturally builds into the bridge after the second chorus, where Jiho is doing her soul thing,
Yes.
coming in very late. And then that leads to the final chorus, which is, dynamically, that's the climax of the entire
Highlight,
track. Right.
yeah.
That's the peak. So throughout this track, there's this constant build, and it explodes at the end. It's not artificial. It's not forced. Very organic. Cool stuff. Nice. Big thumbs up. I like. What I didn't like was the Chaeyoung rap, I'll be honest.
I was writing it down, and I feel like, wow, this is maybe the reason why I thought Sweetest Pie as well, was because the structure of it and maybe her tone and delivery was very much similar to Megan Thee Stallion or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did not that I dislike it. I just thought like this is interesting, because I wouldn't have expected it from her or in this type of song. Maybe, I don't know.
I think I didn't expect it either, particularly because Chaeyoung's voice range as a rapper isn't typically in this range, as far as I can tell.
Lower, you mean, like that low?
Right, this low. Based on what I've heard her do as a rapper on other Twice tracks and her performance on this track. I'm not saying she's bad here per se, but I didn't feel like it was particularly stable. Part of that is because of the actual flow itself, but I think she's a talented person. I don't think this is the right environment for her to be, as talented as possible. But I didn't think it broke this track. It was just
No.
it was just kind of.
I mean, it made
stuck out a
sense
little
when in retrospect, when I'm thinking like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I've heard something like this and this would work. I guess I was just not expecting it from her. Or I guess we know that she has done other things or other types of rap, so this felt a little odd.
Right.
Maybe that's what it was.
She's the one who does a lot of screamo rap with lots of autotune.
Screamo.
Right? Oh man, I hope people know I'm joking. There was a part where Momo sings, and that was really really nice too. It's not. It was very different from the squeezing sound that Momo does a lot. Doug would have hated
Very
it. That's
forced.
what I'll tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, the very forced.
This felt a lot more organic, and I know fans have been asking JYP to let her do this for a while, so I'm glad it happened. Maybe it's because of the tone of the song. I don't know. I liked it. There was a constant butterfly motif. Did you notice?
There was.
There was.
I did notice. Yeah.
Why do you think there was a butterfly everywhere?
I mean, I don't know. I think the effects were very overall, like the music video was really pretty. I think the sets and the color palettes were really, really nice. It fit the concept, the theme of the song.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the butterfly theming has been very popular nowadays because of the Y2K stuff, like the 2000s. I think that was a pretty popular motif as well, in like clothing and makeup and
Okay.
hair, you know. So I feel like it felt like it would make sense. I feel like there's some remnants of Y2K stuff in the music video and the styling. So I didn't think much of it. I don't know if it's meant to be symbolic or anything. If people have more ideas about that, please share. But I don't know. I think it just felt like it made sense with the overall vibe of the music video.
So butterflies are insects. Yes.
Yeah.
And as an insect, they have 6 legs. Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure of that, but
Yeah.
okay.
Insects have 6 legs. That's a thing, right?
I can't confirm, but that sounds about right.
Right. Spiders aren't insects because they have 8 legs. Yeah. This is the
Okay.
thing. Yeah. Insects have 6 legs. They also have 3 parts of their bodies, right? Head, body, torso, right? Chest, torso, right?
Where's this going?
6 legs, 3 parts of the body. 6 plus 3 is 9, which is the number of members in Twice. I'm a
Right.
genius. That's what it is.
I think that's a stretch, but there you go.
What do you think?
Possible.
What do you think the title Moonlight Sunrise is referring to, Anita?
Well,
What do you
From
think they're
Moonlight to
doing from
Sunrise.
Moonlight to Sunrise? Yeah.
they're dancing, you know? They're dancing.
Oh, okay.
They're
Oh, that
maybe-
dance practice. That's what it is.
they're
Oh,
dancing.
okay.
They're driving
Oh.
late at night.
Why are they driving late at
drinking maybe
night? That's not safe.
alcohol-free drinks.
Oh, there was a line about tequila.
Tequila sunrise.
She
Yeah.
said, take a shot of me. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I thought it was all overtly sexual. I was just perverted all along.
I mean, it is what you want it to mean, I guess. But I mean, okay, I do get it though that this very much feels like a what is it? Like a very obvious transition maybe in their topic, lyrics, discography. Like it, I don't know. I feel like even though it might be like, oh yeah, maybe there's some references here, it doesn't feel, how should I say, like out of place, like completely like left field, because I don't know, they've kind of been building up to like a more
they've been
mature
building.
image,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not I don't know, flabbergasted by this.
No, I'm not saying I'm flabbergasted or anything. If anything, I do think it's a great encapsulation of the buzzword they've been using for Sana since 2016-ish.
What is it?
Korean media came up with the word cutie sexy, cutie sexy,
Oh,
and they described they used it to describe Sana forever.
okay.
Which, you know, it's not a phrase that everyday people use. I don't go around
It's
saying,
not.
"Oh,
It's
look at my pizza pie. It's very cutie sexy." I don't say that. Nobody says that. But they came up with it to describe Sana. And I think this really captures that mood really well, where it's
Yeah.
like, it's a little sultry, but like not like in your face about it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I'm getting a lot of Ariana Grande, especially in the vocals as well, because she's kind of in that direction as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you go back to the first time Twice was saying they're gonna go to America, I said that's what they should do. That they're doing it.
They heard you.
I called it. I might not have said that. I'm actually not sure. Please don't go check. I'm like 60% sure, which is not a very high rate, but
No, that's
No.
not passing.
no. Well, 60. Actually, yeah, 60% is not passing.
It's not
It's not
passing.
passing. All right. All right. It is what it is. Oh, okay. We have 1 minute 48 seconds. Any last
good.
a couple final comments about Twice before we move on?
I think we were good.
You good?
It was good.
Okay, it was a
like
good
this.
song. I think the kick drums are very loud. That was the
Oh,
thing I
really?
forgot to say. Yeah, the kick drums that were very loud. Yeah, I'm sorry. Also, the top line about the lyrics about I need you o'clock right now. I know it's become a meme because it sounds like something else.
What?
You don't know?
No.
All right.
You can explain later.
Clock sounds like a slang term. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to lose. I don't want to get a yellow sticker on her video. Anita.
Explain later then.
Male pee-pee.
What?
It sounds like she's saying it's I need your right now in the actual lyric.
I don't hear your though.
I don't know. People have been
maybe.
saying that, and the lyric it's
Wow.
People have been saying people have been saying it's Tana gay all over again. Remember that from Heartshaker?
Oh.
Yeah, where they say one thing and it sounds like another thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's become a meme. Get with it. So I'm not sure what they were expecting. I don't think it's a good line to begin with.
It was a little awkward, I think.
It was very awkward.
Maybe in the delivery of it. I don't know.
Yeah, the delivery wasn't great, but that's because the top line itself wasn't really particularly thought out in terms of the rhythm. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're done. Oh. All right, 15 minutes. We're moving on. I like the song though. Good song. Okay. All right, Spice King. Spice King is a segment where we pick a song we like and we rank it. We also get the Gochu Gang, our Patreons, to help us. They vote too. They do their thing.
They have a say.
Yeah, they get to vote every week. So if you want to do that too, go join our Patreon. One thing we added recently, I started making all my notes that we do for the show available to them as well, in case they want to follow along. I don't know if it's entertaining to any degree, but if you're interested, you could join. If not, you don't have to. That's what that is. Soju chart from episode 220. New Jeans Ditto was first place. It had 3 crowns, therefore it joined Hall of Spice. Second place was OMG by New Jeans. Third place was Love War by Yena featuring Mr. B.O. 3 candidates for this week. 3 new candidates for this week, and that's Aurora by Cignature, Cotton Candy by GOT7's Jinyoung, and Moonlight Sunrise by Twice. Mm-hmm. Anita, because Doug is absent today, you get to go first. How lucky?
Dang it. Well. I'm happy to say it comes with no surprise that my number 1 spot is still the same. Do you know what that is?
I can't be. Oh my God. Can it?
It can be. And it is. So I'm determined to put this in Hall of Spice because it's such a good song. Ditto's also great, but I had it in my number 2 spot. And since we can't vote for it again, OMG is still in first place. So that's my first place spot.
Okay.
Second, I placed Twice, Moonlight Sunrise. I think it's still a really good song. It's nothing like revolutionary. Like the sound is very familiar, I think, for most people, but it's cool. I like that they're trying this out for the Western market. I hope it does well, because I think that will be dependent on if they keep going this route or not, but I like it. I thought it was nice. I'm looking forward to the live performances because the choreo, I forgot to mention, the choreo is really interesting. They have some interesting moves here and there, but I don't think it was shown as much. Yeah, that move. So I'm looking forward to their performances. And then lastly, I'm going to put Cotton Candy by Jinyoung. This was, I don't know, I guess it felt very refreshing to have this sort of sound because it was very easy listening and also very, I don't know, very light. And something about the sound that I forgot to mention, it really reminds me of like summer evening, if that makes sense, which I think I associate with like cotton candy as well because of the sky, you know, when the sun set during summer. Those colors, I thought. See, I should have directed the music video. Like, we should have done that in the music video, but we didn't. That's what I was hoping for.
Anita, it's January. They couldn't do a summer evening film
But you had some editors. Like we could have done something.
You want Jinyoung to sit out in the cold and t-shirt and shorts?
No. I feel like outfits, everything was fine. That was fine. It was just some of the lighting and the colors that I thought could have reflected more, like the message. Like the title. So it's on third. Still pretty good.
Okay. You wanted literal cotton candy in the background of the film.
Literal.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could have filmed it at a cotton candy factory too. That's also something they could have done.
Maybe that's a little too strong. Maybe not that literal, but
film it in front of the food trucks that are making cotton candy. Like, ooh, sir, can I make this with you? Oh. All right. Here's the thing. Oh my God, OMG by New Jeans. Lovely track. I have to say this is my least favorite New Jeans track. Out of the 6 tracks in their discography.
No way.
Yes way. What are you talking about?
How?
I have feelings.
Were they wrong?
Well, boo-hoo. What are you gonna do about it? Here's the thing. I like the song. Don't get me wrong. I still like the song. It just happens to be my least favorite of the 6 of a very lovely discography. What I will admit, is even though I feel that way, it's my favorite of the list we have.
Good.
Therefore, it's first.
There you go.
There you go. You happy?
Yes.
See, we didn't have to fight. You could have just waited for me to finish my sentence. All right, it's a lovely track. I am very serious about what I've said earlier. That was not a bit. It was actually real. But at the same time, it's still a well-made track. I'm not gonna ignore that. Second track that I have on my list is also Twice with Moonlight Sunrise. I'm kind of excited for what they're gonna do in America. I was scared that the feels would be a one-off thing. But I guess they're not done with their American dream. Welcome to America. Hope you succeed, Mr. JYP. I know this has been a very long dream of yours. Go for it. And then on third, this came down to 2 tracks, but I have to give it to Love War by Yena.
Yeah.
This has been somewhat on a loop for me the last week. I just can't ignore that. I like Cotton Candy too. I was between those 2 things. So I have Oh My God on first, Moonlight Sunrise on second, Love War on third. Now you might be wondering, well, what about Doug, Warren? Well, what about Doug? Well, Doug has the same chart as me.
Oh, he shared?
He began with Oh My God. He had Twice on second, and then Yena on third. Yeah, he shared it on the group chat between you and Anita.
He did.
Yeah, he didn't.
I didn't realize.
Did you have our group chat on mute? Is that what it is?
No. I saw it, but I was like,
Anita.
cool, good list. I didn't realize that's what it was.
You just thought he's sending songs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Gochu Gang. Here's what they thought, right? On first place with 58 points, they had Moonlight Sunrise by Twice on first place. OMG following OMG by New Jeans on second place with 54 points. And then Aurora by Cignature on third place with 21 points. Also a very valid pick. Lovely track. So on first place they had Twice, second place New Jeans, third place Cignature. I have not been calculating. Have you been calculating, Anita?
I've been trying to, but you know what? We could do a little pause to guarantee.
Right? Real quick pause. All right, we are back. We finished our maths. Math is hard. Did you know that?
Tabulating? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, OMG by New Jeans takes first place with 18 points. Twice
Let's
with
go.
Moonlight Sunrise takes second place with 14 points. And then Yena takes third place with 2 points. Yay!
Yay! Finally.
You know what? Maybe OMG might win. Some place in Hall of Spice. Who knows, right?
I wanted to.
You wanted to?
Yes.
I don't know what's up next week, but we'll have to see. They'll have to be lucky for 2 more weeks in a row.
I will keep my campaign going because I have been into this song for a long time.
Ditto? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine. All right, Anita, tell us, who are the show winners of this week?
Yes, so we got Taeyang with Vibe featuring Jimin. He won on M Countdown. Congrats. So he has one win with that one. And then we also had Monster X with Beautiful Liar. They also had a win on Music Bank. Congrats.
Nice. I believe a lot of shows were not airing because of Lunar New Year.
New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy
Also
Solar, everybody.
belated.
Happy Lunar New Year.
Mm-hmm.
If you celebrate. If you don't have to, obviously. Anyways, that is all for part 1, I believe. Right?
Yes, yes.
We didn't miss anything?
We're good.
Okay. All right. Look at us. We're still going hard. Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back after the break with a lot of news and events from the last week. So stick around. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, SojuTalk Nation. This is Anita here with a quick PSA. If you would like to support SojuTalk Kpop Podcast, please like, subscribe, or follow us on whatever platform you're using. And consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/SojuTalk or donating to us at paypal.me/SojuTalk. On behalf of the crew and myself, thank you. Now back to our regularly scheduled episode.
All right, folks. We're back with part 2. We're going to go over the news and recent events in the world of Korean pop music and K-pop. You ready, Anita?
Yes.
All right. You want to take turns reading?
Oh, I guess we can.
I'm not good at reading. It's not something I'm very good at. So
What?
I need your help here. Okay, I'll read the first one though. It's yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it was announced that HYBE and Universal Music Group is going to debut a new girl group this year. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Apparently they're debuting a new new group together. They looks like Hanwha released a list of possible potential schedules for the big 4 companies: JYP, HYBE, SM, YG. So we see all the familiar names here in Korean. Yeah, and under that list, it says UMG Girl Group, apparently to be announced sometime in the second quarter of this year, and then debut in the third quarter of this year. Look at that.
Wow. This is not at all related to the island stuff, right? It doesn't seem like.
I don't think so. That's
Something
that's
completely
Belief
different.
Lab, right? Not UMG.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we'll see. There's a lot of other interesting stuff here too, right?
Such as?
Such as they are guessing. These are all, I think they're guessing. I'm not exactly sure how sure they are. But they're, this is based on investor relations, so I gotta hope there's some basis here. At least for the first quarter, we have albums from NMIX, albums from Nizi U, World Tour from ITZY, which I believe that's happening. Right, all of this has been introduced. Solo or unit work from Twice is expected in second quarter, as well as a full album and tour in third quarter for Twice.
Very nice.
Yeah. What else is in here that might be interesting? TXT is coming back with a 5th mini album. We know that. I've heard very positive things from their pre-release.
I did not. I mean, I didn't know this, but good.
Now you know.
Excited.
Yeah. New Jeans apparently doing a album on the third quarter of 2023. That's a long time away. I wish it'll happen earlier.
Yeah.
Then apparently they might be doing a world tour at the end. Who knows? I'm seeing NCT Tokyo.
Let's go. Finally.
Is it happening? Is it happening?
I always put it on my New Year. What is it? My
wish list.
My wish. My
prediction list.
Predictions.
Yeah.
And then there it comes true.
All right. Well, these I would take these with a grain of salt, but it is actually coming from a pretty serious company in all this research. So there you go.
Very nice.
All right. You want to read the next one, Anita?
Yes, so SM Entertainment has announced its management structure revision in 2023, including a multi-producing system. Okay, so
Huh?
basically, SM Entertainment will adopt a multi-producing system enlisting numerous talented producers in the mission to inherit, sustain, and evolve the musical identity of SM Entertainment and its artists. It seems that through this multi-producing system, SM Entertainment will no longer rely completely on head producer Isuman for the creative direction of all music projects.
Interesting.
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 What is I'm wondering what this means though, like who's if it's multi-producing system, who's leading it then? Just a lot of people?
Yes,
I think that's I don't know.
that's what that means, right?
I mean, I think that's inherently what the vocabulary used here implies, but I don't know. I'm a little hesitant because I feel like when you have a lot of people trying to direct, I think it could be a little clashing maybe. I don't know. I hope it works out. I can't quite compare this if anybody else has done this, if it has worked out.
I mean,
So I don't know.
we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know what's going behind the
Right.
scenes. But what I can tell you is that if SM is releasing multiple artists with all of their respective own projects, um, they don't have to tie everything together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Shiny's
I
music
guess,
doesn't need to be
yeah.
related to Red Velvet's related to EXO's to aespa's. You know, we don't need to do that. I know that's what they want to do with SMCU, but at the same time, if all of them, if they each have their own solid direction and go for it, sure.
Okay.
I obviously I don't know what exact role as Mr. Lee has been playing in these productions, but as far as I understand and as far as I see, this is more of a it feels a bit of a you know like a political move almost to kind of dissociate themselves from Mr. Lee, given that's where
I see.
investment is headed right now. You've been hearing about Mr. Lee leaving SM for a while, so makes sense. Oh, I guess that's happening. Right, move on. Apparently, Red Velvet Festival 2022 birthday by Red Velvet has surpassed 1 million copies on Circle Chart.
Wow.
Look at that.
That's a lot.
Big boy sales. And that also means that they are joining the list of 6 only girl groups to have sold 1 million seller albums in the Circle Chart history, which is Blackpink, aespa, ITZY, IVE twice, and now includes Red Velvet.
Very nice.
That's
I
a solid
guess,
list.
yeah. Personally, I feel like I was not that drawn by their release from last year, birthday. I don't know, but I'm glad that it's still received really well.
Yeah.
Because I tend to like most of their songs, so I'm happy that it's still going strong.
I agree with you. I like Birthday. I do, at this point, like Feel My Rhythm a little more, but I don't dislike
Yeah.
Birthday, so. All right, moving on till next article. This is a bit of a sad one.
Oh no. Go on, Sonyo girls. The girls in the park wins the first trial of the lawsuit for the termination of their contract. The members state that they've been neglected since 2021 and are unable to continue their entertainment activities this way. Oh no.
Here's the thing that's left out in this little article here, and is a part of the headline in the Korean article. They have a foreigner member. They have one member who is Japanese.
Yes.
I forget her exact name. I think it was Ayal or Anya or something like that. I apologize for not remembering. But
Is it? No, I think it's Mia.
oh wait, I think you're right. I think it's Mia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, if you're looking at the screen right now, it's the girl on the far left.
Yeah.
Apparently the company did not take good care of her, and now she has to pay fines due to for visa reasons.
What?
There were so the visa documents were not properly submitted, and therefore they need to pay fines. And because she's at the end of the day, the member herself is the foreigner, and she is the one responsible for her visa documents. She's the one paying the fines.
That's so sad. What?
Yeah. And then you have a list of tropes at this point, of management being not great, stuff like them not being paid, not us not being sure if they have actually been paid for their lunch or training, that kind of situation. It apparently looks like a lot of the information that should have been shared regarding how budgeting has been spent has been hidden from the folks.
That's never good.
No. Goon Sonya has been in a bit of an awkward limbo because their management was changing. It has been flippity floppy. They haven't come back in a long time.
I remember that we were thinking, where are they?
Yeah.
It's been too long.
It's been too long. We'll have to see how this develops, but
yeah.
All right, let's move on for now. Next article. Nugent's Adore. Nugent's Ditto has debuted at number 96 on this week's Hot 100 on the Billboard charts. Look at that. This is their first entry into the Billboard charts. Top 100.
Interesting.
That was wild. Someone posted this lovely gif of them doing the Ditto thing. It is a good song. It's incredibly viral and charting incredibly well. I think it's still getting perfect all kills.
Did it or did OMG?
Well, OMG was the other thing competing with it, and then Im Young was also competing with it. So. Okay, it's as of recording date right now, it's still getting a PAK, a perfect all kill on iChart. We'll have to see how far their success goes.
What a great start to the year for them.
I know, right?
Amazing.
Oh God. Speaking of New Jeans, we're gonna dive deeper into Ditto and OMG a little bit with the interview that recently came out with Min Heejin at the end of the show. So stick around if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing, Anita.
Yes, so Triple S or OT10, Triple S OT10 will release their first album, Assemble, on February 13th. With 7 songs. Pre-orders will also get access to their pre-concert, which will include the first performance of Crystallize, I think is a unit.
Yep.
So Dahyun's solo stage and a unit centered on Kaede, I believe maybe that's how you pronounce it.
I think you're correct, yeah. Kaede sounds like a common Japanese name.
Very interesting. Dang. Okay.
Okay.
So we got a concert, pre-concert stuff.
Okay. Again, I am concerned.
Concerned.
Concerts are expensive.
Yeah. Okay. Expenses.
Yes. Budgeting was an issue with Luna.
Oh boy.
So you know what? Maybe second time's a charm. I don't want to just blatantly criticize the lad for from baseless guesses at this point. I'm excited that they can afford this.
I hope that is, how should I say it? That it's more than surface level, like they're actually able to do all of these activities with no financial stress, I
hope so too.
Because I feel like that's what it seemed like with Luna. And then after the fact, we find out like, oh, wait.
Well, at the end of the day, at least they're not doing a music video and an album for every member, which would be worse in this situation because right now, the group that's releasing first album Assemble is the OT10, right? It's the 10 initial members. Triple S, I believe, is going to have 20 total? Is that right?
God.
Let me look this up. Yes. Oh, 24.
Goodness gracious.
They're planning on having 24 members? Oh, well, you look at that. 24 folks. So we'll have to see how this pans out.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's good that it's not all 24 right now. We're testing the waters, seeing how things will be structured and what will work, with a more feasible number, 10 people. But, yeah, it's a little, I don't know.
I mean, we say 10 is feasible, but at the same time, if you think
Still
about
big.
girl groups, that's
we're
we're already on the maximum end of things. So we'll have to see how this pans out. Every time I visit their wiki page in Korea, there are lots of updates to how they run things.
Okay.
They have a bunch of Japanese members, like Kaede is one, Kotuna is one. They have a separate Seoul house and a Tokyo house.
Okay.
Well, Yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out because this is very complicated and my brain is it's like a marble.
Smooth.
Yes. And I'm also, as a side note, I'm pretty sure her name is pronounced Kaede.
Kaede. Okay.
Yeah. There was one of the first anime I ever saw was Angel Beats.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the main characters, her name was Kaede, if I remember correctly. Let me Angel Beats. And it's very old at this point because it was from 2010, which I recognize as 13 years ago. Good God, I am.
Oh my God.
Good God. There's nobody named Kaede.
You just imagined it.
Her name's Kanade. Oh my God.
Wow.
All right.
Well, okay. Okay.
I apologize to both Kaede and Kanade for forgetting their names. But we'll move on for now. Triple S. Interesting stuff so far. All right. Last bit of news. Starship Entertainment shares that their artists, including Monsta X, IVE, Cosmic Girls, and Gravity, will be joining the fan platform Dear You in February.
Oh.
Now, this makes sense because previously, Universe has been the platform Starship artists were active under. And that's, like we talked about last week, it's shutting down. It's saying goodbye.
It's going.
Yeah. It's leaving
Interesting.
Google Play Store. It's leaving Apple Store. It's leaving Microsoft's App Store. If it was there to begin with, I don't know. Amazon App
So
Store.
then, I guess the decision was between Weavers and Dear You, which is Bubble, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So they decided to go with Bubble. Interesting.
Dear You's the one. Yes, Dear You is the one that includes Bubble. It is run by SM Entertainment. Yeah. So I guess Starship was like, oh, SM is cooler than Hybe. Let's talk with them.
Well, I don't know if that was the reason. But interesting. Okay, so now there's more artists now under Bubble because I feel like, from my perspective, it always felt like Bubble was way smaller. Like,
Oh, yeah?
Less groups were under it, but now it seems it's growing.
Well,
Interesting.
Dear You Bubble at the moment has Jellyfish artists, JYP artists. It has WM. It has RBW. So, you know, it's not a SM only thing, if anything. So.
Right. Yeah.
Treasure Hunter is here as well. Treasure Hunter is that's like YouTubers.
Oh,
Yeah.
YouTubers. Did not know they used this.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, that is all the news we have for today. Next week, there will be releases from Super Junior's Yesong, XG, Tomorrow by Together, 1 Week,
Ooh.
the debut of 8 Turn, which is a boy group from MNH. We have the debut of BXB, which is also a boy group from Wolfburn. We also got a song coming out from NCT127 as well as VVZ.
Ooh.
That's a stacked lineup.
That's
Yeah.
some big names here.
TXT is obviously a really big one. I've heard some stuff about their title track and their EP because they did like a media preview day and like people are talking about it. People who were invited, and apparently the title track is all right, but the B-sides are better. I'm not sure.
Oh, dang.
That situation again. We'll have to see. That's just a person's opinion. I'm also. It's also strange that Doug included XG in here. Typically, I thought.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
is that technically within our realm?
I don't know. Maybe.
But I'll check it out. I like them.
I've been checking out XG. Tip and Toes was great.
Right.
Yeah. They also did like a rap video with 4 members. That was great. Like
The cipher thing.
right. Someone in the Discord had me listen to it, and I was like, "What is this?" And I actually listened to it. I was like, "Wow, this is really good. They're good at rapping." What do you know? Way better at rapping than some of the other K-pop idols. I'll be honest.
Whoa, well,
Well, that is all for today. That is all for this week. If you are sticking around for just the main portion of the song, sorry, we're not a song. We're a podcast.
we've been singing this whole time.
We've been singing this entire time. Anyways, after the quick fake ending pause, we're going to be talking about Min Heejin. She did a pretty lengthy interview discussing her work style, discussing her creative vision. There was also a section with Shin, the director of the OMG and Ditto music video, and he broke that down a little bit. So you know what, I was like, we talk about New Jeans a lot, but might as well talk about a little more.
We're gonna ramble some more.
We're gonna ramble a little more. Anyway, so if all of that's interesting to you, you can stick around. If it is not, you don't like New Jeans, you don't like Mrs. Min or Miss Min. I'm sorry, I don't know what she's like. Anyways, if any of that is interesting to you, you can stick around. If not, this is where we part our ways. Sayonara, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Special shoutouts to our Fiesta patrons: Bagel, Based Mina, Brian, Shadow, Cotton Ball, Delmonic, Ellie, Genki Boy, Goku Mama, Jacob, Liam's Games and Toys, Luke Daniels, and Jay Parks. Tier, thank you for joining SojuTalk. And special thanks to our Discord server mods: Jacob, K Music Erday, Koala, Max, No Bias Luna, Tuggles, and Wolf297. All right, we are back from our tiny little break. Here's the context. Let me set the stage. The recent New Jeans comeback, Ditto and OMG, has been pretty successful, pretty viral. They have been clearly different from a lot of the K-pop releases that we have talked about, that we have come across in the recent couple, I want to say decade almost even. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm exaggerating a little too much. But what I'm trying to say is that it's been really cool. And people have been asking, well, why is that? This news site, Cignature, well, they're, for the most part, they're a media site, news site, blog that covers film, cinema, movies, whatever. Sometimes they're a little hipster about it. They're like, oh, films, mise en scène,
Not
kinda
movies,
like that.
films.
Oh, they're not movies. Marvel movies are not films. They are adventure rides. Those people. They did this special interview series where they talk with Min Heejin and Dolphiner Films Shin Wooseok CEO, because they were like, these are cool creatives. They're doing a cool job. Let's go talk to them. That's honestly what happened. And in this interview, they broke down a lot of the creative process, and they, went over how they reached conclusions and whatnot. I thought all of that's really cool. So what I ended up doing was translating the Min Heejin interview, and I threw it on Reddit because I wanted people to read it, because it's worth discussion. It's worth reading. A lot of the messages are really cool. The way she works is really cool. On the other hand, her attitude has been mildly controversial in Korea. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But so before we get to that part, for the most part, I wanted to talk about Shin Wooseok's interview real quick, because he broke down the OMG music video a little bit. And you know what? I was going back to what we talked about in our actual discussion, and I was like, maybe we weren't too off. Yeah?
No, we were not. We were on the right track.
We were kind of on the right track. So overall in this interview, which I didn't translate, but if you just Google Translate to read through it, I don't think you're gonna miss too much. Basically, he is an outsider. He has not been a part of K-pop this entire time, and he illustrated what he thinks about what's perhaps ironic about this whole industry, as an outsider, from a third-person perspective. Now, one of the questions was why Chimchak Man, the streamer, is at the end as a cameo, right?
Yeah.
Chimchak Man, like you mentioned, is a streamer. He is a former webtoon artist. He did a stream with New Jeans as a guest at one point when OMG was released. And the question was, why did you have him show up on the music video? And Shin Wooseok goes, well, Chimchuck Man is actually a webtoon artist called Lee Mal-yeon. And before he's a streamer, he is also a webtoon artist that is famous for his own creative style, for his own unique narratives. He has his own little unique territory based on his incredible imaginations. And he thought that maybe Chimchuck Man is appropriate as someone who could play the role of an adult who looks at the imaginations of the members without any bias or preconceived notions. So someone who's able to understand the imaginations of new jeans, right? Yeah. So we were kind of right.
I mean, yeah, we see it in the music video, right? Because he's the one that turns back and sees the drawings that they made, right?
Right.
Come
Right.
to life.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, that's the message that Shin is asking us to kind of look at. Maybe he's saying this is how you guys should approach these things, that was my take. I don't know. And then the following question was, well, OMG's music video begins with the foreign member Honey's narration. Why did you give this very long narrative bit, this dialogue, to a foreign member who's obviously not going to be incredibly great at Korean? And the answer goes, well, within the scenario itself, Honey claims through the narrative dialogue that she is an iPhone, that she is Siri. But if you change one letter from iPhone, it's the story of an idol who has kind of lost her own creative freedom because of all the criticisms that a general public might, force down upon her, right? He also thought that this message would be more effective if Honey, whose first language is not Korean, tells that message, which kind of makes sense, right?
I'm kind of extrapolating what he meant by if you change the wording of iPhone to mean
Yes.
idol.
So iPhone in Korean is iPhone, yeah. Idol in Korean is idol. iPhone, idol. One letter swapped from iPhone to idol. That's yeah. So the iPhone bit is the outside part of it,
Right.
but the deeper bit might be the story of an idol that is forced to kind of comply, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the part where he chose Hani to tell that message makes a little more sense because she is having to do a little more than Hedin or Hein to kind of conform herself a little further to the image that she has to meet, right? She has to speak in Korean. She has to meet those cultural standards.
Expectations,
Right? And he and one of the messages that the music video tells is to kind of, hopefully not too much of that, maintain who you are, be creative, yeah. So again, we were kind of on point, maybe.
Good. Yeah. No, I feel like, to be honest, I feel like the music video had a lot, right? So you have to kind of watch it a couple times and kind of really think like what could be said here beyond surface level.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think it's cool to also have like the confirmation from the director to know like, okay, yeah, so we were kind of on the right track.
Yeah. We are on the right track. Look at us.
There we go. Very nice.
Right. Anyways, this whole interview is pretty interesting. It's a little bit more about how he thinks about the whole culture and the whole industry. Yeah, dive into it if you prefer to. This is what he looks like. He's a good-looking man, don't you think?
This is the Shin Wooseok, right? The director?
This is Shin Wooseok of the Dolphiner
Right.
Studios. We didn't really get to talk about it much on the actual show back when he talked about OMG, but he is most famous for doing advertisements, a lot of which force crazy ideas into very funny situations. Like for instance, I don't want to spoil all of them too much, but there was one scene where there is a thief in an art museum, and the prosecutor brings them to court. So the stage is, the court. That's where the scenario is happening. And out of nowhere, he pulls out "Oh My Girl" as a witness, and just pulls them into a cameo. I don't know. I'm doing a horrible job of explaining. Go check it out. It's pretty interesting stuff. So that was the part with Shin. The part with Min Heejin is a little lengthier and a little meatier, if you know what I mean.
More to talk about.
There's a little more to talk about. So if you want to read the whole thing, which I translated in almost full, I skipped a couple parts that might be irrelevant to the Western folks. The whole translated interview, which is very long. It's on the Reddit, the New Jeans subreddit. I thought that's probably the most accessible venue. But I'm gonna use this version because it's a little more visible. Anyways,
easier to read. Yeah.
Easier to read. Yeah. There we go. Let's zoom in a little bit. Anyways, there were a couple things that stood out to me a little bit, right? First was her talk about Ditto and what she meant with that. So I'm not gonna read word per word what she said, but it really felt like she produced Ditto as a response to the attention that the first EP got, right? Between Hype Boy, Attention, Cookie, and Hurt. It seems like there's two sides of it. One where she wanted to thank people for all the attention and success that they received with the first EP, and then on the other hand, kind of she says the word reconciliation, and she wanted to make up for what she describes as a misunderstanding. So she's calling it a misunderstanding.
Okay.
Yeah. That's, what, she's okay, whatever. She's sticking to her words with that, I guess. I don't know. The part that stood out to me a little bit is the part about the deer in the music video. And if you don't remember what that part is, near the end of both side A and side B Ditto music videos, there was a deer. There's a scene where
very
there's
briefly. It's not a lengthy shot, but yeah.
Yeah, you almost forgot about it, didn't you?
I had to rewatch because I didn't quite remember where it happens, but yes, it's there.
Yeah, that was the only part that didn't make sense to me in the actual music videos. But she did explain what it was. And she basically, the imagery of the deer that pops out randomly and then pops back out randomly, is she was trying to represent, I guess, beauty. That's the word she uses. Beauty as in something that people want to chase. And the more you chase it,
I see.
Right, the more you want to chase it, the more difficult it is to get to.
You.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the more you chase it, the less beautiful it becomes. Ironically. Right.
Okay.
So that's I think what she's saying with the deer is like, leave us alone a little bit.
Interesting, because when I'm recalling where the scenes happen, right? The person who is watching the deer is Panisu, right?
Right.
She's the one who encounters the deer.
Right.
And I feel like having this context, right, as to what it's meant to represent, maybe it kind of reinforces that understanding we had of like, so she's looking towards this I guess this imagery, this ideal that she has had for a while, right? And I guess so. I don't know. I guess it kind of emphasizes the distance, right? Of like she's chasing something, she wants to follow something, but she can't follow it.
Right.
Right.
It's starkly different from what K-pop companies do nowadays. Because think about, and it's also very different from the purpose of phoning, the way I feel like. A lot of K-pop companies nowadays market their idols as accessible, as close, as someone you can
That's
access.
the magic, I guess.
That's
that
the magic.
It's created.
Right.
Yeah.
You buy a lot of albums, you get lucky, you get access to their video
Events,
chat fan
fan
event.
signs. Yeah.
yeah, who knows? You could go to a High Touch or a fan event, like stuff like that. Because they actually exist. This is the stark contrast where there is a certain bit of distance, and she's saying, "Don't come too close. Observe from afar." I don't know if I like that. I'll be honest.
I mean, I appreciate the commentary because I feel like there are times where I've, not necessarily with this group, but where I've seen interactions where I'm like, I don't know if this is the healthiest thing to be promoting, right?
Right.
But I do find it a little ironic that I don't think they're excluded from that. Like the group, right, is not excluded from this type of interaction or like gaze.
Right.
Because as far as I remember, or as far as I know, they're still doing like, what is it? It's not VLive anymore, but like something along those lines where like they're hosting videos specifically for fans to watch, right? They tune in and it's like them just hanging out, or that's what is meant to portray. I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting ideal, right? Of like separation from the artist, but also like you're not excluded from that. I don't think.
Right. No. I'm not saying that they are in completely different universes. If you
I don't think they can be. I don't at this point.
The reason I brought up phoning earlier is because it was a bizarre experience to me, right? I was in a group chat. I don't have the app anymore, and maybe it changed. But when I first downloaded it back in when it first released, I was essentially in a group chat with the 5 New Jeans members, and they're all talking. They're all chatting about. Yeah. Look at this funny photo of you. Ha ha ha. And that kind of
you're
thing.
Just reading it.
I'm just there watching. I can't send anything. I can't respond to it. I can't like anything. I'm just there watching. And I ended up deleting the app because I just felt creepy. Just watching other people's group chats. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that kind of reflects her vision in terms of fan-idol relationships. Where
interesting.
You're a part of the group chat.
But you can't chat.
You're not talking with them, no.
To be honest,
yeah.
It feels almost a little cruel in a way. Not saying that was the intention, but like for some people, maybe it would feel like, oh, well, this is like an extreme illusion. Like you're literally making it seem like you're a part of a group chat, and like you're not. Like you're obviously not. You're not meant to be. But like, why work so hard to make it seem that way? Like
and I don't draw the line where it's
right, like right at the edge of like, okay, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't particularly hate it. It's very interesting. It's just very interesting. So far it's kind of working. So we'll have to see how it pans out, right? Yeah, that's what Ditto is. It is making up for the misunderstandings and moving on, according to her. She was very deliberate about her word choice. It's very clear she's dancing around what's going on with the cookie. Anyways, moving on. Songwriting process was also pretty well discussed in the interview as well. She talked about working with 250, how she ended up getting a lot of demo tracks. So behind the scenes, right? Here, let me try to find the part that was looking at earlier. She was talking about the role of all the people behind the scenes, right? Because we've been talking a lot about the beat makers, Frank and 250, particularly because I'm already a big fan of them. Gigi and Ilva Dimberg have been 2 folks that, as far as I understand, have been the top liners for a lot of their songs so far. And she was talking about the roles they might play, how it varies song per song. So, for instance, one song she thinks a beat maker might be more important, whereas in another song a top liner might be more important. And then she goes on to say that the role of a director that actually manages the overall process has grown significantly, which kind of makes sense. If you think about DJ Khaled,
Yeah.
It's an extreme example, right? But like he's a guy who puts together the right song, the right people for each song, right?
Yeah.
I don't enjoy the creative output, but it sells really well, right? Same goes for Rick Rubin. A lot of these producers have been doing that kind of thing, and that kind of plays an important role. She goes on to say that the outcome might have been very different if the vocal direction was done by someone else besides her, right? And that 250 has given other K-pop artists tracks, beats, but the outcome and the output has been very, very different. One track that pops into my head at the moment is "Gas Me Up" by ITZY, which is
I don't think I've heard of it, but
no, it's not a title track. It's a B-side off of their first album, and it's like gas, 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 gas me up. I say gas, 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 gas. Me up. It's a cool song. If you listen to the song, the beat, you can hear his DNA, his identity in the track. It's a really cool song. Go check it out. But the core of it is a very K-pop song. It follows all those K-pop formulas, and that's
structure. Yeah.
Right. That's what makes it a song of that genre. And like she mentions, I do think the out result is very different, particularly because the way New Jeans has been singing has been a lot more relaxed and
yeah, she mentions that.
Right. A lot more unexaggerated compared to a lot of the K-pop artists that sing, right?
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I thought that was a pretty cool bit that was all intended. One part that is a little controversial for the folks who have gotten to this interview a little earlier because they can read Korean, is that she says, personally, I have very much not been a fan of the way K-pop typically handles melodic progression or vocal styles. K-pop typically needs to include a high-pitched section, awkward and sudden rap sections. Everyone sings in a very similar style, etc., etc. And of course, I do respect those who enjoy the style, but I do not like these elements myself and wanted a world in which music without those elements can exist. And she said similar things throughout the rest of the interview.
Yeah. I mean, I think it adds to the genre in a way, I think, because I feel like it's always interesting when people who have the means, right, the creative freedom to do this, can try out what's not the norm, what's not, I guess, typical of the genre. So I'm not, and to be honest, I guess we've been a fan of that because the releases have been doing really, really well. I've really liked, I think the majority of them, I can't say that equally, but I think all of them are very distinguishable, very memorable. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think what you're alluding to is that she's saying that what's been going on is wrong or maybe not as good with other producers. There's
a bit of undertone of, the way I do thing is better kind of tone to her words. It's just a tad bit arrogant, just a tad bit. And I think a lot of it is rooted in her success. Obviously, there's evidence to her confidence.
Right.
But at the same time, people who don't like her have a reason to, even more, is all I'm going to say. On the flip side of things, I also have been enjoying her music, so I can't really argue against it. Particularly because organic building, organic pacing, organic vocal styles, all of these things are something I've always been a fan of. I've been saying less is more since episode 20 something, right? So all of that makes sense. But at the same time, I also recognize a huge group of people, particularly in the Western audience, who don't enjoy this music, because it's, they think it's a little boring compared to what they're used to, which makes sense. It kind of is, if you think about it.
I mean, that's valid. Yeah.
There's a big chunk of those folks on our Discord, a big chunk of those folks on Twitter, Reddit. So it's So as we see more of music this style, it's gonna be interesting to see that kind of divide. Is it gonna
Right.
deepen, or is it gonna come together? I don't know. We'll have to see.
I think they both types of sound, right? Whether you go more minimal, more like, and then the other side of the, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
the highlights, right, of the genre. I feel like there's an audience for both,
There's
right?
definitely an
And I
audience for both.
think,
Yeah.
and also I feel like there's an audience who likes both too. So I don't think it will ever be one versus the other. I think it will just be
Mm.
coexistence because I feel like it's
Mm.
it's already too much of a staple to be, I don't know, shifting the typical structure. I mean,
I mean, here's what I'll say is that we've already seen artists try to emulate this more organic style of music. While on the other hand, artists like that's coming out of SM, for instance, like got the beat last week.
yeah, thought
Very
about
much
that.
on the
Yeah.
other hand, right? Very much not organic and lots of extreme moments in terms of pop
Right.
music, vocal style, beats, all of those things, transitions. And it only feels like they're gonna dig deeper into that. And my question, as someone who is enjoying all of this music, is if I was running a business, which is the better business move? Yeah. I mean, obviously,
I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
come down to a lot of things, right? What are the
Yeah,
members good
yeah.
at? What
Well,
are
hopefully,
right,
yeah, that's a factor.
right? It's probably the biggest factor.
It should be.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Let's move on. Because she also talks about choreo, right?
Oh, yes, I read that part. Yeah.
Right. So she was talking about her work style, how she handles working with coworkers, people within her company, yada yada yada. And she talks about how she argued for a specific style of choreography, something that's a little more unconventional and freestyle like. That's a little more different from the common kalgunmu, idol knife choreography that we see in K-pop, right? She talked about how she worked with the performance director Kim Joo-eun, who originally came with her take on Hype Boy. Originally was a little more K-pop, I guess conventional K-pop, and then she spent time re-explaining her vision, her direction, and we ended up getting Hype Boy as is today, with the whole
Very
viral
nice.
success. Yeah.
Very good.
I don't know. I'm not a huge choreo person, obviously. I don't. If you guys have not seen the video versions, please don't, because I do weird shit all the time. But I don't know. Anita, have you noticed these different details?
Yes. I feel like I definitely understand what she means by the feeling of it, like more freestyle, more, I guess, loose in a way. And I saw this because it's a trend in some of the choreography, and I've always been curious who is the lead choreographer for most of their songs. I know that for Hype Boy, as we know it now, Black Q from Otte Crew was one of the people that worked on it, and that made sense to me because I feel like, well, yeah, I feel like crew wise, he's very much like more into that realm, right? So more freestyle form, choreography, but like not the typical like hard hitting sharp moves. It's if you watch like their crew, you kind of get a sense of that. So I feel like that made sense because I feel like what I've noticed the most in their choreography, which I thought is reflected in what she's saying, is in the transitioning between moves or like positions of the members in the choreography. And I think you can tell that it's a lot of like jumping, right? Like moving very freely, like not a specific arm movement or leg movement leading you to the next position. And they do that a lot. They did it a lot with the choreo for Cookie. They do it a lot for Hype Boy. They do it a lot for OMG. So it's quite consistent, and I guess it makes sense if that's what they were going for. That's the vision, and it's successful, I would say. Um, Having said that, I feel like it's there's a good mix where I feel like it's still very synchronized at points. So I would say that yeah, they succeeded in having that more free vibe and not being super rigid, but there's still like remnants of like synchronizing and like making it look very in unison, which I think is still in a core aspect of the genre, you know.
There's a that what you just said reminds me of this intro, I think, or sorry, outro section of the Attention choreo, where every time you do it, the camera really zooms into each member, but they
Right.
all it kind of just looks like they're just doing their own thing, but it's really well
Yeah.
organized, and it all of a sudden comes together into this final moment, and it looks very casual yet organized at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a good mix of making their organization look not like not thought out, you know? Like it's like, oh yeah, they're just walking and doing their thing, talking to each other. They have a lot of moments in their choreo where like they look at each other or they're like in groups or they're walking together in pairs. And I feel like yeah, like that makes it seem very natural, but it's obviously choreographed. And I feel like that's a good it's been a good mix in my opinion. I enjoy watching it because I feel like it adds in that essence that she's describing, I guess, that more free form and less, I guess, thought out or seemingly thought out.
Right. More real, more organic.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of links back to the music style too.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think one of the things I enjoyed most about their releases is how the choreography matches the song. Whether it's like super intense or not intense, but like faster pace, you know, like Ditto, or more kind of like vibey in a way, like Hype Boy, more like hip hop based. I think Hype Boy, I think is the most. I think it matches. Like it's a good way of making it blend into the
See,
song.
it's interesting that you say it matches because a lot of people are saying the choreo to Ditto is just completely off and not matching the tone of
Oh,
the song.
really?
Yeah.
I thought it. I
There's
thought
a
it
bummer.
matched.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think for the most part I agree with you as well. But I think the whole melancholy esque
Melancholic.
melancholic tone of the song was kind of what they expected it to be in the choreo as well, except I mean if you think about it, the song is pretty fast paced, you know, Jersey House,
Yeah.
Baltimore House kind of song, so it kind of makes sense that the
Yeah.
choreo would be aggressive. Anyways, let's move on. She talked about her marketing tactics as well, right?
Yeah, that was an interesting portion.
Right. Because she mentions, well, they were talking about how there are, you know, problems in this idol K-pop industry. It's not perfect. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
You know, she wants to fix. Well, she doesn't want to fix. She wants to do what she can to kind of improve certain things, the way they approach content, the way they approach music. And then she ended up talking about her marketing strategies, and how she wanted to rely less on. Here, let me read what she said. Right. It's a small thing, but New Jeans albums did not contain random assortments of photo cards that are quite popular among idol fans. This is because I wanted people to buy our products for what they are, not because of marketing gimmicks. I was glad to see the excited response, but I was also curious. One of the experiments I wanted to do while launching Adore and New Jeans is finding out how far I can get with doing just the basics and doing the basics really well, right? And that's why they didn't do a YouTube promotion campaign. They didn't do any of the teasers, right? She wanted to compete with just the foundations, the music, the choreo, and the content. And by content, I believe she's talking about the variety stuff she's doing with the New Jeans member on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Light jeans, I think.
Is that what it's called?
I think I've seen it.
Okay, I've
Yeah.
seen clips of stuff like 강혜린 이상하다. That's one of the memes. Anyways, and she was happy that they're excited by people not getting random photo cards, but instead getting the photo cards that they wanted, right? Oh, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I found this section very interesting because in the previous podcast episode, we had a little discussion of a what if, right? Like, what if you were able to pull the photo cards that you wanted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, that's a big thing, and that's a big pull, right? For buying albums, for the fans to be invested, to like it creates a whole culture, I think, outside of the artist.
Right.
But I found it really interesting that she was purposefully trying to go away from that. And I don't know, I feel like in a way it's cool, something different. And I guess trying to prove herself with, as you said, like the basics, right? Like making sure that it's doing well because of the music, because of the production, I think that's commendable. I think that's a good goal. But I don't know. I feel like I hope it's not deterring or trying to. I mean, I don't want to say look down, but some of the wording, and I mentioned this to you, and then before we started recording, about like the fan interactions, right, and the creation of fandom and all that, as like not necessarily being like super positive about it, I would say. So I feel like this also goes into that of like.
Okay, well, let's pivot into that, right? Because she's dealt with a lot of criticisms after the debut, or from the debut of New Jeans. A lot of it, I think, was pretty fair. Having like Cookie, for instance, and some of her previous work with questionable photography and direction towards underage folks, has been one thing. Were they over? Were they excessive, or were they the right amount? I don't know. I wasn't reading all the stuff that she was getting. She thinks it's excessive. Well, maybe that's what she thinks.
About the random assortment of photo cards. Is that what you're saying?
No, sorry. I was talking about the criticism she's received
Okay,
since the debut
yeah.
of New Jeans. Sorry, we'll get to that in a second. We'll connect it back to that in a second. And then within Korea, there were a bunch more small little controversies. Like, for instance, people were saying that Min Heejin is projecting herself into Ditto in the music video.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the music video, yeah.
Which, if you read the article, she shoots all of that down, because the creative freedom with the music video was completely with the music video studio and not with her at all. If anything, she completely let go of creative control there so that the director can do her own thing. I think for the most part, she feels similarly about Cookie. If you guys are not aware, she put out this lengthy graduate paper about how all of that's a misunderstanding, and how the song has no sexual intent behind it. It's up to you to decide, whatever. What I will say is that that's probably not the right thing to do as someone who faces the general public and media. Maybe there could have been better ways to communicate. I don't know. I'm saying all of this, right? I'm saying all of this because the way she recognizes it, some of it feels excessive, and a lot of it feels baseless. If I'm thinking about the Ditto music video controversy in particular, where people thought she was projecting herself into that kind of makes sense, right?
I could see where people might get that assumption. Yeah.
Yeah. I understand where people made the assumption, but some people were like, "Oh, that is what has happened, and she is evil because of that."
Well,
that was a little too much. I saw people
That's a
doing that.
bit.
It was stupid. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, I think Min Heejin, as of January 2023, is drawing this very thick line between like normal fans and fans who are excessively absorbed in this culture. Yeah, and that is not coming off really well.
I mean, I'm not, what should I say? Like, I don't think her sentiment is essentially wrong.
No.
But the way that she's going about it, maybe in the wording, yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of message, I mean, however Welsh can word it, that kind of wording is bound to piss people off, because at the end of the day, those people, a lot of them are your consumers.
They see themselves in what she's describing.
Right.
Possibly, yeah.
This connects back to the group of people that are very unhappy about the ending bit of OMG as well, right?
Was there a lot of backlash for that?
Oh,
I didn't think it was that bad.
This also might have been a Korean only thing. Like the Korean people I follow on Twitter, some are fine with it. They were like, "Look at you people, you fucking clowns." Some people were like, "Oh, she can't say that. She is shooting down valid criticism."
Okay.
I don't know. I think obviously, if your valid criticism, if you think your valid criticism is valid, sure, it's valid. If you're writing stupid stuff on Twitter, you're writing stupid stuff on Twitter. It's up to you to decide whether it is of the former or the latter, right? Like for us, for instance, I think we're doing our best to provide critical feedback when it's not just praising.
We do our best,
growth.
yeah.
Right. Because at the end of the day, we're not here to just shoot the shit. We're here to, have a constructive conversation. Some people aren't when you go on the internet. So that's what I think she's directing her wording at. Some of it might not be that clear in that aspect because,
yeah,
because of wording choices.
Yeah.
So that was our last bit about how like people are like guessing and like they don't really know what's going on, but they will say things regardless. Like another bit was her relationship with Hybe, right?
That's okay. It's in the translated articles or like summary articles that I saw about this interview. They really emphasized that part, like her mention or her trying to distance from Hybe as far as like success.
That's a huge part of it. That's if I had to pick out a thesis of this huge essay, it is I built a door. I founded a door because I wanted complete creative freedom, and Hybe has jack shit to do with it. That's the thesis. If you read the entire essay. She says that many times in different words in different parts of the interview. She's like, "Oh, well, Hybe was not involved in the music making. Hybe was not involved in funding. They gave us the money. They didn't tell us how to use it. They don't have a say in how we use it."
Right.
So she, she says stuff like, "Oh, at first she says stuff like, oh, it's strange that people would group New Jeans music with either SM Entertainment or Hybe Entertainment." Because it has nothing to do with any of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Stuff like people saying that New Jeans is successful because Hybe gave them a lot of money. She's like, well, if you actually look at our budget, the budget is actually not very different, far off from a lot of the idol music video debut projects. And if anything, was a lot more efficient because they were able to pump out like 4 music videos for Hype Boy? 3? Something like that, right?
Yeah, individual, member videos.
So my takeaway with the whole interview is that she does not like being misunderstood.
Yeah, I get it.
And
I feel like
is willing to talk a lot about it. Like this interview is like what 5,000 words, Anita?
It's long.
It's
hefty.
long. Look at this thing. Read the interview, please. I spent so much time in translating it.
Yes, thank you, Warren.
Oh,
I do feel though that in relation to her emphasis, right, on like distancing and like making that difference known, right, of like this is what I'm doing, this is not what Hybe has done for me or that has been involved in. I think I mean, it's valid. I think, of course, she's been putting a lot of her creative efforts into this. Something that I wasn't aware of as well, like how much of a goal this was, like the company and the group and like her whole vision, right? I think from my perspective beforehand was that, oh, well, she was a creative. She had this project that she wanted to fulfill, and she had the means to do it with Hive, and like it worked out. But it seems like it was a little bit more deeper than that. Like this is a very, very and like an investment for her, like a very big goal, right? And I get it. I think that makes more sense, I guess, as to why she has a lot of feelings regarding like her being the producer, her being the one directing this whole thing. I will say though,
Okay.
that there's still something to be said because she is associated with Hype, right?
Yes.
Maybe they're not calling the shots. Maybe they're not actively putting their hands on like the product, right? But there's an association that was made, and you can't ignore that helped in some way, because you're being supported in a way just by even the mention of the name.
Yeah, look, I am by no means a media speech talk expert, but what I will say is, I think you, Mr. Bank, somewhere wouldn't have heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that gives them a little bit of credit because they did give you money.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like also somebody at Hive must have been like, yeah, we believe that this is a good project. Like,
Yeah,
we believe in
like-
you as a creative director, right? I don't know. It just felt a little like,
Yeah,
it's not.
like Kim
Like,
Kim
a
Joo-un,
man
for
is not
instance.
an island, okay?
Kim Joo-un, for instance, is the choreo director, performance director at Adore. Where was she at before Adore? She was at Hybe as their performance director. I mean, maybe they knew each other from before, but
Possible.
at the same time, I have to. You can't deny that the onboarding process would be a lot easier if you're transferring from one part of your company to the other, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm saying Hype did play a role. On the other hand, as someone who works in a semi-creative field, I kind of get it. I do. Don't get me wrong. I'm a
I
UX
mean, you want
designer.
credit where credit's due, right?
Yes, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I have to give all the credit where credit is due.
Right. No, I get
Yes.
that. I understand where she's coming from in that sense, but
What I'm saying is I kind of understand her desire for creative control and freedom, right? I'm a UX designer. I work with clients. I obviously, because I work with clients, I have many NDAs, and I can't go into any detail here because they will get all of us sued and broke within a minute. But what I can say is that because I work in a corporate setting and because I'm a UX designer, I design things, and there are a lot of constraints. There is a lot of yellow tape. There's a lot of red tape that I have
Yeah.
to go through, and during my creative process, and sometimes I make decisions knowing that it is probably not the best decision because,
or not what you would have done
right
by
right.
yourself. Yeah.
Not something I would do in the most ideal situation, but because we don't live in an ideal world and global warming is here and there's still a war over there in Europe,
Yeah.
we have to make decisions. So I understand that you want creative control, you want creative freedom, and particularly because she's a producer, she has, I'm imagining, way more constraints over the creative output than something I deal with. It's particularly because she's working in a music industry, which is, by default, way more creative than UX design. We're not that creative, I'll be honest. That's not what creativity is not amazing here. It's good. It helps, but it's not the only thing that helps. With her narrative has been that working with SM has been great, but she, was not incredibly satisfied with some of the way she was able to work, and ended up founding Adore, so that she can be both the CEO and the executive producer, so that she has complete creative control.
Yep.
Right. I don't, that kind of makes sense. I'll be honest. I mean, as long as there's a person that's willing to give you the money for that, sure, go for it. You're goddamn lucky and very talented if you get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right. Is there anything else that stood out to you from this interview, this lengthy bit?
No, I mean, honestly, if people who are interested in like maybe the creative background process of what the group has been like leading up to, you know, I mean, honestly, you could get a good insight with this article. I think I have more context now.
Same.
As far as to like what the production team spearheaded by Min Heejin is like and what their goal is. But I also feel like I have, I guess, my own thoughts of like, well, how can this I wouldn't say that I am 100% like on the same page as to like, yeah, this is the way you should be doing it. But it's interesting to know like, oh, this is what's behind all this.
Yeah. I love Frank. I love 250. But by no means do I think that every K-pop company should be working with hip hop producers all of a sudden.
There's strengths that people should look into, right? Like
Right.
as we mentioned, you should be looking at the people themselves. Like, can they do this?
Right.
Will this be good for them?
Is this an appropriate decision?
Right.
Overall, I kind of agree with you. I still have very mixed feelings about this lady. It's impossible to detach the amount of controversy that comes with this lady, as well as the amount of success.
Yeah,
Both money-wise and creativity-wise. What I will say is that, was I concerned about the New Jeans comeback that's gonna come after OMG? A little bit. You know, following up success is very hard, especially with this level of success. I don't know. I'm a lot less concerned now.
Okay.
Yeah, like
There's a plan.
right.
I feel like
There's a plan.
Yeah.
And she's actually very adaptive with her planning as well. If you think about how Ditto was a response to the first EP, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. They were able to push that out in like 3-4 months, very quickly,
Very fast.
very fast. I did read in a different interview that the deer itself, they originally planned to CG it in post,
CGI.
but they didn't have the time for it, so they ended up getting a real ass deer
Wow.
in the snowfields and in the classrooms. Oh man. Well, props to them. Props to New Jeans. Anyways, I think that's all we have for today.
Yes.
This bit was a lot longer than I expected. I'm not sure if people are still listening.
I kind of knew it was gonna be long because we rambled in our review in the previous pod episode.
did.
So
Yeah.
I feel like this was an extension of that.
Well, maybe I should have set the timer again. All right. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I had a good night. I hope you had a good night as well, Anita.
Yeah. It was fun.
I shall talk to you again next week, hopefully with Doug in the room as well.
Yes.
Sad man, why? Anyways,
It's been a magical journey.
after a magical journey. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.